My name is Danielle.
My name is Cassidy.
We love you, Glama!
Oh, I love you too, Glama girls. Hi everyone, Glama here. Welcome back to Made with Love by Glama, where everything here is always made and taught by me with love. So today we are going to be doing part 3, yay, of our Glama's mermaid tail blanket. So this is a 2-in-1 mermaid tail blanket because as a newborn, the baby can use it as a little cocoon, and the top part can go over the head, and then as the baby grows, they can flip over the blanket and the opening can go towards the back, and they can just put their little legs in there and cover their little shoulders with the longer part. So yay, this is a 2-in-1 mermaid blanket. All right, so we're going to get started with part 3 right now. So far, for part 1 and part 2, I've used 2 skeins of yarn, and so I'm going to be starting on the 3rd skein. I bought 4 just in case because I wasn't sure what it was going to require, but it looks like I'm only going to use probably a quarter of the 3rd skein, so, or maybe half of it, I don't know. So all right, let's get started. Okay, so this yarn, it's a number 6 bulky yarn. And if you look at the packaging, it says that it calls for an N hook right here. See? An N hook, which is a 9mm. So that is what I have. I have a 9mm, or an N hook, I mean, and a 9mm. And so, like I said, I'm not sure exactly how to do this, but I kind of have something figured out in my head, so I'm hoping it works out. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to make a chain of 22. So let's go ahead and do that after we make our slip knot. Okay, so let's just chain up 22. Meet me back here when you've got 22 chains. Okay, I'm back. I've got my 22 chains. Now, if you're not making this for a newborn or a little baby, then you make your tail as long as you want it. This is going to be the length of, you know, here's the end of it. This is going to be the length of the sides right here, the 22 chains, okay? And then we're going to gradually decrease to get to the middle, okay? Alrighty, so I'm sure you notice a difference. My nails, I broke this nail and this nail and this, no, it was this one and this one that I broke, the 2 shorter ones, and so I just cut them all off, but I went ahead and polished them the exact same way that I had when they were long. So anyway, another thing you'll hear in the background is my daughter's doing laundry, so you can hear the dryer going right now that's clanging like there's a zipper in there or something. Some kind of article of clothing with a zipper in it. And you might be able to hear her in the kitchen. She's talking right now because she started her own YouTube channel. And yeah, y'all might want to go check it out. It's basically just her, it's her raising Petrova, basically. So it's just going to be raw footage of her filming with her phone, just moments that, you know, that cute moments that happen throughout the day with her and Petrova. So the channel is called Finesse and Petrova Strasberg. I'll put a link somewhere so you can go follow it. Or maybe I'll put it at the end of this video. I don't know. All right. So anyway, now that we have our 22 chains, we're going to skip 2 chains. And in the 3rd chain, we're going to make a double crochet. Okay. Okay. And you're just going to make double crochets in all of the chains, and so at the end you should have 20 double crochets and a chain, so that chain is going to count as a double crochet. So basically you'll have 21 double crochets including that chain. All right. So go ahead and do that. Make double crochets in each of the chains until you get to the end, and then I will meet you back there. Alrighty, see you in a bit. Okay, so I have 2 chains left before I get to the end. Here's my last one right there. When I was new at crocheting, I thought that slip knot was actually a stitch too, and I used to stitch into that, and that used to make my work veer that way. So don't do that mistake that I did. This right here is your last chain. Okay, so we're going to double crochet. So now we are going to chain 2 and start row 2. Yarned over. We don't go into that first one because that's where that chain is coming from, so we skip that, go into the next one, which is actually the next chain, the next stitch I mean, and we're just going to make double crochets all the way till we almost get to the end. And I'll tell you what I mean by almost get to the end. We're not going to go all the way to the end because we want to start making decreases so that the fin starts to go like this, and then we're going to go like that. We're going to make this fin in all one piece. I've watched crochet tutorials where they make 2 pieces, sew it together, and then onto the blanket, but I like to do everything as easily as possible, and I like to do things with as least amount of sewing as possible. So I am kind of figuring out a way of how to do it all in one piece. Okay, so I hope it works out. It's working out in my head. I just hope I can get it onto the project like it is in my head. Okay, so we're going to do this all the way until we get, why don't you stop when you get to the last 2 stitches? But what I mean by the last 2 stitches, go all the way till you get to there. Don't work the last double crochet and don't work the last chain, okay? We actually have 3 more stitches to do. 1, 2, and then the chain, 3, but we're only going to make 1 more, okay? All right, so that's it. We're going to stop there, and now we're going to chain 2. Turn our work around. We don't ever go into that one because that's where the chain is coming from. And so normally we go into there, but we're going to go into the next one instead. And so that is our decrease, okay, to start getting the shape of our fin the way we need it. Okay, hope I was in the shot. So now let's just make double crochets all the way till we get to the other end. Okay. You see, you can kind of see that it's taking it's making the little decrease, the little incline there. All right. So let's just continue that way. Meet me back here when you get to the end of the row. Okay, so I'm close to the end and I've got 2 more double crochets to make. We're going to make one into there, the one right above the double crochet, and don't forget that chain counts as a double crochet. So we're going to stitch into the top of that chain too. That's where a lot of new crocheters make their mistake. They think that's the end and they stop there, and then your work starts to veer that way. Trust me, I know that that's a mistake that beginners make because that was a mistake that I always made. And so I always try to remind you guys in my tutorials about that in case there's any newbies watching. Okay, so you see it looks like that's the last one and it looks even, but there's a slight bump right there, and so if you don't go into that, like I said, your work will veer that way. So what you want to do is you want to go into the top of that chain 2, and that is your last stitch, because those chain 2s, once again, as I repeat, is considered your double crochet. That chain is considered a double crochet. Okay, so we chained 2. Turn your work around, and once again, we're not going to go into that stitch because that's where the chain is coming from. So we're going to go into that stitch and we're going to make double crochets all the way till we get to the end of the row, and we're going to do the same thing we did over here. We are going to stop before we get to the last 2 chains. We're not going to work that one, and we're not going to work the chain, okay? So we're basically going to work up until there, okay? Okay, one more to go. All right, and we're going to stop there. We normally would stitch into that and stitch into the chain, but we're trying to make this a gradual incline or decline or decrease, whatever you want to call it. So 1, 2, turn your work around, and when you're on this end, this is where you're going to make the decreases. When you get to this end, you're not going to make decreases. You're going to actually stitch into every stitch and then you're going to stitch at the top of the chain 2 at the end. Okay, so this end, you're going to work all the stitches. On this end, you're going to make your decreases like we've been doing. So, okay, I'm going to leave you to it, and meet me back here when you have 10 rows. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows so far. So in case you're confused, you can just rewind and watch how we did the decreases. Okay, so I'm not sure if in the last segment I said that I would have 10 rows. Well, I made a mistake because I have 9 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So you should have 9 rows with 9 double crochets in it, okay? A chain plus. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so normally I think what I've seen is people are making 2 of these and then sewing it together in the center. But I'm going to try to do it to where we don't have to make 2, where we can just make it one piece. I don't know if it's going to work, but we're going to try it. Okay, so let's make 2 chains, turn our work around, and so for this side we were making decreases to give us this angle, but now we're going to make increases to go in the other direction. Okay, so we've got our chain 2. Now let's go into the next available stitch and make a double crochet, and we're going to do that in all of the remaining stitches. Okay, here's the last official double crochet, and then there's the chain 2, so we're going to actually go into there as well. But let's go into the last official double crochet, and now right here in the top of the chain 2 we are going to make 2 double crochets. Okay, 1 and 2. Okay, now that we have that, there's our increase. So you see there's a little incline there, and now there's a decline there, and I'm hoping that it is going to mirror this side. So let's try it. All right, like I said, this is my first trial piece here. I haven't tried this before. So let's chain 2, turn our work around, and normally we don't go into that stitch because there's already a chain coming from there, but we are going to go into it because we're making this an increase. Okay, we're making this whole side an increase. So each time you get to the end, to this side, you're making an increase. Okay, now just go back, put double crochets in all of the double crochets from the previous row. Okay, there's the last official double crochet, and now there's the chain. So let's go into the top of the chain 2 and make our last double crochet of this row. Chain 2, turn your work around, and we're going to repeat what we did in the previous row. Okay, make double crochets into all the stitches except on this side. Like I said, we're keeping this edge a straight edge, so we're not increasing. So we're not going into there because there's already a chain. So go into the next available double crochet for the next stitch and make double crochets in each of these double crochets, and then in the chain 2 space make 2 double crochets. Okay, and repeat that. All right, and I will see you when I get done, I think I'm going to be making 9 rows. So, because that's how many rows we made on this side. So we're going to make 9 on that side, come back and assess our work and see if it looks okay. If not, we will make 2 of these and sew them together like everyone else does. Alrighty, have fun. Okay, so I'm finished, and this is the second half that I did. I did 9 rows. And as you can see, there is a difference. On the very first side, you can see that there's kind of like a scalloped look. And that might be why people make 2 of these and then sew it together in the middle so that it's exactly mirrored the same. This is what happens when you do it the way we did it. Now, if that doesn't bother you, then it still has the little point there, so it looks just fine, because then we're going to gather it like this, and I'm sure it won't be very obvious. But if you don't want to do this, then you are going to want to make 2 of this side right here and then sew it together in the center. But I'm going to finish it like this just to show you what it will look like, okay? But yeah, I do see that there's a difference. Over here, as you can see, there's a hole there. That was the 9th row where we made our double crochet, where we skipped a stitch right there, okay? And so you see these little gaps right here on all of this first side that we made, and on this side there isn't that, and that's what makes the difference right here. But like I said, I'm not uncomfortable with it. It looks good to me. Which is kind of weird that it looks good to me because I'm kind of a perfectionist. But because of the fact that we're going to gather it, it's still going to have that fin shape that is so traditional in these mermaid blankets. So that's what it would look like. So I was hoping to end with my tail on this end so that I could weave it through here and pull it so that it gathers. But I ended over here, which is fine because I'm going to use the tail of the actual cocoon area, and I'm going to weave it through there and then pull it, and then I'm going to sew it on. So I'm going to do that, okay? But to finish this off, I am going to just chain 1 and get my scissors and cut that right there. Okay, pull that through. Tug that down, just snug it down a little bit, and then we're going to weave this in, okay? So go ahead and do that, and I will meet you back here, and we will get it on our little cocoon now. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the tail of the little blanket part, the cocoon part, at least that's what I've been calling it. I don't know if that's what you call it, but sounds good to me. And I'm going to thread my tapestry needle. We have our tapestry needle threaded. I'm going to weave this to about right there, because when I squish this together, I'm going to want to attach it about right here to right there from the opening, about 1.5 inches, 2 inches from each side of the opening right there. So I'm going to make sure that I have the opening even. And actually, this eventually is going to be the back once the baby gets older. So I think I'm going to turn it over because this is typically the front of the mermaid tail blanket. If I just start to weave it through here and then bunch this up, it's going to be kind of weird. It's going to be off-centered. So I want to kind of come out this way for a bit. Yeah, about there. So now that we've done that, I hope I have enough of this yarn. Grab the fin and just start weaving it in and out. I'm going to move it this way. Just start weaving it in and out. And then we'll gather it all together. never done this before, so this is all trial and error. Hope it comes out. Okay, so now that we have it weaved in, we can tug on it. Okay, so that it gives it that fin shape that we want. See, that's what we have going so far. Yeah. Okay, so now that I've got that, I'm going to come to about right here. And sew it on. Okay, and so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to try to follow that same line there. I'm going to go in, I'm going to grab the fin and sew it on. And by doing this, it should cover up that hole right there too. So now I'm gonna do this and grab the fin. It's hard to get it through all the layers. But yeah, I think I'm gonna have enough yarn after all. See, I still have this space to sew together. Hope you can see. Okay, so we're almost finished. All right, maybe I'll do one more for good measure. Awesome. Okay, now what does it look like in the back? How does that look? Oh, it looks just as good. Yay. Alrighty. I might go back just a little bit just to reinforce things. Okay, so I'm back to the other end now, and I'm just going to weave this in. And I'm going to actually reach into the cocoon and grab the needle, push the needle in, reach in over here, tug on it, and I think I'll weave it in and out of here so that you can't see the tail end from the outside. Okay, I think that's all I'll do. I think we're good. Alrighty, just get your scissors, cut that off. And we are finished with our Loom knit mermaid tail blanket. Yeah, so that's what this looks like. Okay, like I said, it's not perfect. If you don't like this versus this, then just make two sides of that. But this is the front of the blanket. This is the back of it. Okay, I think it came out fantastic. So now I will try it on Petrova, and I will put a little baby doll in there. Because like I said, it's a 2-in-1, so we're going to put the baby doll in there to show that it can be for a newborn as a cocoon, and then we'll put Petrova in it to show that it can be for an older baby as well. And if you want it bigger, then you're going to get yourself a bigger Loom knit, probably the pink one, or whatever color it is in your box, whatever brand you get your biggest loom. Some people like it nicely fitted on their legs, on their calves and thighs and stuff. So alrighty, I sure hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I had fun inventing this idea, and I know that you had to wait a long time for part 1, but it's because I hadn't thought it all the way through, and I wasn't going to have a thumbnail picture of what it looks like on a baby until I finished it. So now that I'm finished with part 3, I'm going to go and take a picture of the baby doll wearing it and of Petrova wearing it, and then I can finally get part 1 up. Thumbnails just make everything so much better. It makes people want to click on my videos when it has a good thumbnail. Alrighty guys, don't forget how much I love you. Don't forget to love yourselves and everyone that you come in contact with. Alrighty guys, bye. I love you.
Thank you for watching our Glama's channel.